Sometimes the people who seem to protect us are the ones we should fear most. The very symbols of safety and order can be manipulated to create chaos and fear. Sao Paulo learned this the hard way in 1999. The bustling city, known for its vibrant culture and economic prowess, was about to face an unprecedented challenge. That year, a group of criminals pulled off one of Brazil's most audacious bank heists. Not with guns, but with trust. They understood that the most powerful weapon is often the one you can't see. Dressed as police officers, they walked into a major city bank and walked out with over $7 million. Their uniforms were their disguise, their badges a ticket to unimaginable wealth. This wasn't a smash and grab. It was a meticulously staged performance, exploiting the public's respect for authority. Every detail was planned to perfection, from their confident demeanor to their precise timing. The criminals knew that a uniform and a badge could open doors no crowbar could. They leveraged the inherent trust people place in law enforcement to bypass security effortlessly. Their plan shattered not just vaults, but the city's sense of security. The psychological impact was profound, leaving citizens questioning the very institutions meant to protect them. Most robbers try to be invisible. These guys did the opposite. Parading in uniforms meant to signify safety. They turned the concept of security on its head. No one dared question them. Their confidence was their weapon. The audacity of their plan was matched only by their ability to execute it flawlessly. For a few hours, their gamble paid off spectacularly, sending shockwaves through the country. The news spread like wildfire, leaving everyone in disbelief. The biggest threats don't always come with noise and violence. Sometimes they arrive with a fake badge and a calm voice. The heist was a stark reminder of how easily trust can be exploited. The Sao Paulo fake police heist is a masterclass in deception, exposing the fragility of the systems we trust. It was a wake-up call for the entire nation. It's a dirty job of a different kind, one that gets into the psychology of a heist. The meticulous planning and psychological manipulation involved make it a case study in criminal ingenuity. How did they do it? It started with the costumes. These weren't cheap disguises. The criminals wore authentic-looking uniforms, badges, and drove vehicles marked like real police cars. They acted the part, moving with authority and confidence, disarming suspicion before it could form. When they arrived, no one questioned them. It looked like a routine police visit. Their impersonation was flawless, down to the smallest detail. They likely had inside help, knowing exactly how real police operated. Calmly, they told staff they were investigating a security threat, instantly taking control. Security guards trained to cooperate stood down. The criminals used the bank's own protocols against it, turning trust into their greatest weapon. Their performance fooled everyone: tellers, customers, even security. This wasn't just a robbery. It was a psychological operation exploiting our instinct to trust authority. Inside, the crew's precision was military-like. No chaos, no shouting, just calm, firm commands. By avoiding panic, they kept alarms silent and authorities unaware. Staff and customers were herded into a secure area, eliminating surprises. The leader spun a story, maybe a bomb threat or a planned robbery, to justify their actions. This gave them free access to restricted areas, including the vault. The bank manager, under pressure, complied, handing over the keys to the kingdom. The vault wasn't cracked with explosives, but with knowledge, likely from an insider. While some controlled the hostages, others focused on the vault, working methodically. The illusion had to be perfect. The staff became unwitting accomplices. By making cooperation seem logical, they bypassed high-tech security with old-fashioned manipulation. The strongest vault is only as secure as the person holding the key. It was social engineering at its finest, executed under immense pressure. With over $7 million in hand, the crew faced the hardest part: escape. Every second now mattered more than ever, as the weight of their success pressed down on them. The adrenaline was high, but so was the risk. They left as calmly as they entered, loading cash into marked vehicles like evidence from a crime scene. Their movements were precise, rehearsed, and almost routine, as if they belonged there. To bystanders, it looked like police securing the bank after a threat. No one suspected a thing. The uniforms and official vehicles gave them an air of authority that no one dared question. Their getaway was as planned as the heist itself. Routes mapped, traffic avoided. Every turn, every street, had been scouted in advance, ensuring a smooth escape through the city's maze. At a predetermined spot, they ditched the fake police cars and switched to civilian vehicles, vanishing into Sao Paulo. The transition was seamless, leaving no trace of their true identities. By the time real police realized what happened, the robbers were long gone. The city was already swallowing them up, making pursuit nearly impossible. The first sign of trouble came only after the criminals had a huge head start. Officers scrambled to respond, but the trail was already cold. Imagine the confusion. A bank robbed by police. Staff and customers struggled to process what had just happened, unable to believe their eyes. This confusion bought them even more time. Every minute that passed was another mile between the robbers and the law. Responding officers arrived to find only bewildered staff and an empty vault. The scale of the operation became clear, but the culprits were already ghosts. No fingerprints, no masks, no shootout, just a perfect getaway. The scene was almost too clean, as if the robbers had never been there at all. All that remained was a description of officers who never existed. The city was left with questions, and the legend of the perfect heist had just begun. Who could pull off such a clean job? The investigation pointed to Brazil's most powerful criminal organization, the First Capital Command, or PCC. The PCC wasn't just a gang, it was a criminal empire, born in Sao Paulo's prisons after the 1992 Carandiru massacre. What began as a self-protection group quickly evolved into a ruthless, organized syndicate. The heist bore all the hallmarks of PCC meticulous planning, discipline, and a message of power. The stolen millions weren't just for profit. They fueled the PCC's expansion, buying weapons, bribing officials, and funding drug trafficking. Even from behind bars, PCC leaders orchestrated complex operations using smuggled phones and outside networks. The heist proved that locking up leaders didn't stop them. It just gave them a new command center. After the heist, Sao Paulo was gripped by shock and suspicion. Headlines blared the story. Trust in police and banks was shattered. If you couldn't trust a police officer, who could you trust? For real police, it was a humiliating blow, sparking one of the city's largest investigations. Detectives chased leads, but the criminals had covered their tracks well. The operation's precision suggested inside help, maybe a compromised employee. Banks grew paranoid, questioning their own staff. The search for the insider became a key focus, but evidence was scarce. Some arrests were made, but many masterminds vanished, and most of the money was never recovered. The heist became legendary in Brazil's underworld, a symbol of the PCC's power. For authorities, it was a harsh lesson in the evolving nature of organized crime. The 1999 heist forced Brazil's banks and police to rethink security from the ground up. Banks overhauled procedures. No more trusting a badge at face value. Multiple layers of verification became standard, even for supposed law enforcement. Police introduced more secure IDs and tightened control over uniforms and vehicles. Communication between banks and police was improved to quickly verify any unusual activity. These changes took years. New tech, new training, and stricter protocols. Staff learned to independently verify officers' identities. The legacy of the heist is visible in every security measure you see at banks today. The robbers forced an entire industry to get smarter and more vigilant. It was an expensive lesson, but a necessary one. Ironically, the government's response to the heist made the PCC even stronger. By scattering leaders to different prisons, they spread the PCC's influence nationwide. Each new prison became a recruiting ground, absorbing local gangs and expanding the network. The PCC transformed from a Sao Paulo gang into a national powerhouse. By 2001, they coordinated uprisings in 29 prisons, a show of strength. The heist money fueled this growth, arming members and corrupting officials. The PCC took control of drug routes and forged international alliances. The 1999 heist was a turning point, elevating the PCC to a transnational criminal enterprise. Even today, the PCC remains Brazil's dominant criminal force, resilient and adaptive. The Sao Paulo fake police heist didn't just enrich a few, it built a criminal empire. Crime evolves. What once happened in the shadows of alleyways now unfolds in the glow of computer screens and the hum of servers. The 1999 heist was a masterpiece of deception, a story that captured the world's imagination and set a new standard for criminal ingenuity. But today's criminals use new tools, digital blueprints, encrypted chats, and malware instead of lockpicks and crowbars. Now, the biggest heists happen with a keyboard, not a gun. The battleground has shifted from vaults to virtual networks. The same cunning behind the fake police is now used in cybercrime, where a single click can open doors once guarded by steel. In July 2025, hackers stole $140 million from Brazil's central bank service provider, not with force, but with a single compromised employee. The attack was silent, invisible, and devastating. For just $2,700, hackers bought login credentials and siphoned off a fortune, laundering it through cryptocurrency. The digital underworld thrives on anonymity and speed. The weakness wasn't a uniform, but a password. A simple string of characters became the key to millions. No matter the era, the human element is the weakest link. Technology changes, but people remain vulnerable to manipulation. Criminals, PCC or cyber, exploit people, not just systems. They prey on trust, fear, and carelessness. The principles remain: find a weakness, study the target, and wait for the perfect moment to strike. Plan and execute with precision. Every detail matters, whether it's a digital breach or a physical break-in. Whether it's a fake badge or a stolen password, the tools may change, but the intent remains the same. The goal is always to bypass security through deception, to outsmart the system and those who guard it. The Sao Paulo heist is a timeless lesson in the art of the con, a reminder that innovation is a double-edged sword. Stay vigilant because the game keeps changing, and the next threat may already be inside the system. There are always more dirty jobs to uncover, and the new face of crime is always just one step ahead.